right.
All right. It is happening.
Well, yeah. Stalling for Fubins. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Well, luckily stalling is what I do best. I'm occupying my time staring at this beardy picture of you on Discord. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Greetings.
Whoa.
Oh.
Greetings, sweet potatoes.
Speak of the devil.
He's here.
Sorry to keep you guys waiting. I just had some stuff to run real quick, and I am here. Did you guys start the stream yet?
Yeah, we're live. You're
Just
on
started.
it.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Watch your language.
I mean, oh, drat. Okay.
Farts.
So
Yeah, if
what
you
do we
want,
got going on?
we're gonna watch the video of the first, well, week 1, which was actually the first week of this year, because I did this week 0. Last time we did this, it was week 0. That was like the last week of December or something. So.
Oh, cool. Okay. Let me get that pulled up real quick. That's the one you sent last night in the email.
Yeah.
Or was it the other night?
And you don't have to change the speed. I set it to the right speed. We can just hit play together when we're all ready.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Playback speed is set to normal.
So.
I thought Derek was going to join us today.
Oh, who knows? So. Let's see. I guess for
Is
people
anybody else in the stream yet, or?
Oh, actually, I wasn't paying attention. But in case there were, I was going to introduce you.
Oh.
Fubins, say hi.
Hello.
Fubins.
Fubins.
Paul. He's the original designer of the game and is the designer and artist on this version of it.
That's right.
Let's see. Let me make sure chat's working. And then we also have Stevie, who's joining us for the first time.
Yeah.
Although he was featured in our...
except for that other time.
The devlog. Yeah, I guess we did do a stream that one day.
Yeah, we were kicking it, streaming it, doing all kinds of streamy things. It was good times.
And let's see.
That was cool.
So Stevie's doing the music, and I'm doing most everything else. And then, yeah, I guess you guys ready to start this video?
I am downloading it right now.
Oh, you're downloading
I didn't grab it last night. Apologies for that. Yeah, I thought I would have a little more time to prepare, but I had some kind of last moment. I can just play it in my browser, maybe, or maybe I shouldn't.
I thought you were gonna say I can just play it in my brain.
I can't just imagine it. Don't worry, I have the whole thing memorized. Yeah.
Oh wow, 275 megabytes.
Uh-oh.
Good thing I'm wired in. It's already halfway there.
Stevie, do you have a keyboard? Can you play some intermission music?
Play some intermission music. Let's see. What comes to mind? I don't know if this will do.
Probably can't hear it on the call
ready.
anyway.
I'm ready.
Oh, you're done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Faster than I can
I'm
search
eating
for
that.
the final countdown on YouTube.
All right.
Nice.
You guys ready to play?
Say when.
All right. On 3, I guess. 1,
Sure.
2, 3.
Look at that go.
Cannonball.
Yeah. Let's listen to some.
So, didn't we do like a? So we were doing week 0 last time. This is actually week 1 now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So this is more basically where it was after you played the prototype, and then I worked on
This
it
is
a
what I
little
was-
bit afterwards, but this is sort of like, all right, the first week of like working on this.
Yeah, I think this is when I was starting to tune into your streams. If if not before, this is definitely when I started to follow along. Yeah, because we have the shopkeeper.
Oh,
Oh
so
wait,
this is an
that's
older one.
that's actually the old shopkeeper sprite. That's a blue lander from ripped straight from the Guardian Legend. He was like the helper in that game. He would be in like save rooms and shops and stuff.
Yeah, you eventually wanted to do a variation of him. Even though it's probably fine. We'd probably be fine if we used the original, but...
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't remember
It
what
was
the
like
shopkeeper looks like, or what was it called? Blue Lander?
Blue Lander. Yeah, it's from Compile is the developer, I think. It was their mascot. It was either Compile or Irem. And I think that company is now like, the original company went defunct, so they're kind of like their like IP is owned by some other company, like a bigger company bought them out, I think.
This thing kind of looks like Lolo.
Yeah, it does. It's just a straight up round blue guy with a smile. It's very simple design, like but it's iconic at the same time, and it's obvious that hey, like that just immediately references Guardian Legend, and
it's kind of just like
essence of avoid it.
Essence of Smurf with feet, I guess.
Like a decapitated Smurf.
It's more like a D-torso Smurf. I like it though. It's really friendly and cute.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I've been asking myself, I wonder why there were more people joining in the chat earlier on. And maybe because, I don't know, I put the day, like how many days I've been working on it. Maybe people aren't as interested if it's like day 90 into some project. Oh, that's
yeah.
That's not special.
Like you're floating in space and you have to just keep track of every day.
Oh, look, I started, this was, I think, well, I guess we did the jail cell, but then this was the other first model that we made for the game.
Yeah, I feel like this was the first, like, like, it wasn't just some rectangles,
Oh, the terminal?
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the first, like, actual 3D model. This was even before we had the proper, like, crates and blocks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Which actually, when I showed it to some other game developers, I think the crates made them realize it was a Guardian Legend referencing game pretty immediately. So that's pretty good. I think
the new ones?
Yeah, I think they are pretty successful at capturing that.
Were you watching Tim and Eric on YouTube for reference or something?
Yeah.
Tostino's pizza rolls are gonna go make an appearance in a Easter egg, maybe.
well, now that you say it.
Oh shoot! Was that supposed to be secret? Yeah, the kind of non-pure cube shape and non-spriteness of the terminal is really cool, and it because it was hard for me to imagine like how you were going to make the game a little bit more 3D beyond just like rectangular rooms and sprites, and so some of the newer like bosses having verticality to them and stuff like that I think is pretty cool. I'm curious to see what else you're going to do with it.
Oh, you'll see.
Yeah, we have there's two bosses that are like they're designed well enough that we could probably start implementing them. It's but there's definitely a lot of ideas being kicked around for the new ones, and it's like with this version of the game, like pretty much every boss except for the first one, like the first one's the same as the original game, but Sector 2, Sector 3, Sector 4, like all those bosses have been replaced with new bosses, and they I think they work a lot better than what the original game had. They feel like more like bosses. I feel like the original game's bosses just felt like mini bosses. They were just very simple, and they didn't. I don't think they presented a very huge challenge to the player. These ones, they have like patterns and phases, and there's just so much more going on. And like you said, there's definitely the verticality and the new axis is sort of factored into their gameplay, and that was really important when developing and designing them.
They're kind of getting bigger and more complex the more we go on. So that might be kind of a cool thing that they sort of ramp up. And then we can have like a really epic final boss. Like the original, it was this big, crazy boss.
Hey, Paul.
Harrison's face.
Paul,
now we can have Paul Harrison's full-fledged body, arms and legs, just walking around, a full, like, rotoscoped model of Paul Harris crashing through the whole thing.
much larger than life. Paul, we in the video we zoomed past the cactus spray, and it made me wonder how long did you take to get his sunglasses just right, his shades.
You know, it's been 7 years since I drew that spray, so if I remember correctly, it just fell together. I think I did experiment with like using outlines or putting black lines in there to kind of capture that sort of slotted look, because that's
is that what they're called? I'm trying to figure out what those shades are called.
They're like blinder shades, I think, or something like that. They're just solid. They're like a solid plastic shade with slots, and
I remember Venetian blinds for your face, or something.
Yeah. And I remember like it was just such a look, you know, when he put those on, and I was like, all right. That's
he gave that talk at GDC, and then they took photos of it, and then they used that photo all over some of the GDC like marketing material over the next year.
Funny.
And then you also put it in your box art, the cover.
Right, yeah. And I hope we can kind of bring that back as like, you know, I'll do a new one, or we can kind of reuse parts of the old one, or we can even find somebody who can make something even cooler, you know. But it would be cool to bring that like box art back, because I feel like the box art and the manual were like really a big part of like this game. I remember it got featured on some I don't know what site covered it. I think it was like Polygon. I don't think it was Polygon. It might have been something smaller. I don't know. It was like, but it was a very small, brief article, and the only thing they really showed was the box art. They didn't even show the game. They just said, "Oh, check out this retro styled box art of like this game."
Who cares about the game?
Like,
just look at this box.
Yeah.
It was something like that, and yeah, like I feel like that's kind of, it would be nice to have something like that, sort of a mock physical media that's kind of like present alongside the game in some form, even if just through marketing materials. But I feel
remember who made it.
What's that?
I'm trying to remember who made that. Made the box art.
Oh, I made the box art.
You made the box art? Oh, yeah. For some reason I thought somebody made. Oh, okay. Well, nice.
No. Oh, thanks.
and also there's a game.
But yeah, like I think it would be important to bring that back with this new one, and the whole thing was with the original game there was like this whole manual thing where you know, something was written in the back of the manual, and one of the characters in game would tell you, "Hey, have you tried checking the manual?" And it was actually the solution to one of the puzzles, and that idea comes from Star Tropics back on the NES, when, you know, those that actually had it and remember it came with a little slip of paper with you know, it was just a note from your uncle, and it was just this, you know, it says something normal, but then later in the game, you know, they said, "Hey, that piece of paper I gave you, you should dip it in water and it'll reveal a hidden message." And sure enough, you would take this slip of paper that physically came in your game box and you would run it underwater, and this hidden message would appear. And it was just such a cool, like, just out of the box kind of, like, it
gives you the authorization code to submarine or something like that.
Yeah,
I think I love that. My copy of that game, I've probably dipped the manual or dipped the letter in water so many times that it like is just permanently revealed now.
That's funny. I don't even know where that is because I was so young when I did that, but like I just like that game did that, and like I kind of want more games you know, have you exploring outside of the actual, you know, outside of the game and just look for clues and stuff elsewhere. It's really interesting to me.
Aww.
Who's that?
Oh shit. Oh no.
You.
Wait, what? Whoa, no, it is. It's him.
It's him.
Oh god. I gotta go, guys.
Have you ever noticed how Rubens and Derek are never in the same room at the same time? Suspicious.
Absorb Paul into my body.
Good luck.
He still escapes.
Shut up.
Get back in here, Paul.
Oh god.
You're level 50 now.
Oh no. Yeah, I gotta go, guys. There's still like.
So this is how you absorb people's powers, I guess.
I like how Jeff was like, the other day Jeff was like, I don't remember Derek being this great.
Yeah, he's really changed since he got his beard.
Since he got a beard. Oh my god.
To me, Paul.
I can't take it.
He like
Greetings, Derek.
I don't think he's gonna.
Oh,
and then he was gone.
wait, no, I think he's still here.
He's like hiding. He's like waiting for the moment.
Shadow. You'll find me. Watch it.
Did Derek start the movie? Did Derek start the video when we did the 3, 2, 1 countdown or not?
Oh yeah, he was here the whole time.
Oh god.
I don't think he has any idea what we're looking at.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
I don't think you guys have any idea what I'm actually looking at.
I'm working.
He's one of the captive indies in the game that we're working on, and
That's
he's
true.
broken free. Talking about breaking the fourth wall and thinking outside of the box. one of the characters from the very game has emerged into the stream.
Now's our chance to actually get some voice recordings and throw it in there. Paul really wanted to. Derek Paul really wanted to use recordings of his guinea pig in the game, and I think we got some good squeaks last time we did a stream.
Did you really put your guinea pig's voice in the game, Paul?
No. Like I was thinking like it would be funny if we got recordings and Stevie did some sort of like thing to him to make them sound like 8-bit versions of her squeaks.
I think that the frequency range that your guinea pig emits is like beyond what an 8-bit chicken is capable of doing.
It's ultrasonic.
It's the thought that counts, though. So
yeah.
Well, your guinea pig's spirit is already in the game with
That's true. Yeah, Commander
name.
Bean. I mean, that's literally her. Like, it even has the spot, the discoloration on one eye.
And the avatar is even, small squeaky mammal.
Yeah, it's totally her. And when you hear the voice, it's kind of like a high pitched, when she talks, as opposed to like your character's like lower pitched sound. So hopefully that's enough to convey. I mean, if she was speaking like a language like English or any other human language, I imagine, maybe maybe her voice would be lower. I don't know. Maybe the squeak is just reserved for lettuce or something.
English, or
I feel like actually
I had to take a phone call, but
are you leaving?
You're on a phone call.
I see what you're saying.
Sorry.
Don't worry, Derek. I'll get back to work on the other 49 games as soon as I can.
Over, guys. I'm sorry, but Paul's on the clock.
Derek, I'm on the clock 24/7.
Is that the sound of a whip cracking?
I sold my soul to Derek. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta
Get back inside his body.
Climates like Danny DeVito, all oiled up, crawling out of a couch.
Wait, what?
Dirty little soul, but I'll still add it to my collection.
Oh God! When you want to mix things up.
Derek is the real one who's capturing indies, and he's doing it by swallowing that whole.
No, yeah,
Good twist. That would be a good twist for the game, actually.
Right. Well,
The real enemy is Fubens. No, wait, it's Paul Harris. No, wait.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I feel like we need a more like relevant final boss, because like Paul Harris, like he made sense in the context of like the 2001 TIG source inside joke kind of structure, but like I feel like we need somebody that's like more recognizable as like, okay, this guy, he really would do this.
Like Derek.
He really is trying.
You should have to defeat Paul Harris, and then you find out that the true final boss is actually one of the captured indies.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Did you play the first
Because
one?
I'm actually absorbing the indie game Legend 3D into UFO.
Well,
50.
yeah, it's gonna be a companion title to UFO 50. It's like the 51st game that they tried to develop on a different platform or something. On their new UFO.
It's like from the
64.
Street Fighter movie, how M. Bison tells Chun-Li for him it was just a Tuesday. Well, game 51.
Paul, you're in this game. I feel like you should put Jeff in this game too. I want to see like
Stevie, did you know that you're in the game?
No.
You're in.
You have a sprite.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you were in the game, but there's a sprite of you I found.
Really? Can I see it?
No.
Didn't I show it to you? And you're like, oh, can you please put that in? And I was like, yeah, we'll see. And then I never did. I'm sorry, Stevie. But
Or Stevie.
I'm pretty...
Press memory is slowly returning. I wish I had never remembered.
Oh, no. Damn it, Jeff, why did you bring it?
Stevie has green hair in it.
What are you actually showing on the stream right now? It's just like old footage or something?
Oh, yeah, this is our week 1, I think, of Jeff's development.
Old footage, yeah.
Why are you live?
Like black and white.
Live?
Sitting there aging. The footage is just collecting dust.
What was that?
Whoa.
The Twitch, I thought you were just freaking out on stream and just like shaking your head around really fast.
Oh, you thought it was live?
Jacob's ladder. Jeff's ladder.
Jeff is really into this stream today.
Really, really productive too.
Yeah. I know. Man, the way the camera moves around so fast, I feel like you gotta be good at Overwatch or something like that. Your Twitch reflexes are incredible.
That's funny. Oh, man.
I mean, are you just gonna go through the entire all 94? How many days has it been? 97.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, this is actually
Day
this
95.
is a week, so this is like 5 days or something like that, and so kind of gonna do a commentary for every week. There's been like 20 weeks so far or something like that. So yeah.
So this video is just a week of development.
Yeah, this is one of the first weeks.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so we should be talking about specific week of development.
Yeah.
Who can really remember what happened back then?
Yeah.
Continuously absorbing Paul into our body.
Yeah, there's enough of me to go around. You can all absorb me if you want.
Yes, please.
I used to think like, man, I just wish I could like just like magically like like, you know, transfer fat off my body into like skinny people so they could have more and stuff.
That's a really
like a
think about.
socialist, like a socialist approach to body weight.
Yeah. Mostly just less for me is the...
That's okay. You can take it, do whatever you want with it. I don't want it.
Should definitely live stream it when we all stand around you and absorb you into our bodies.
Well, I'd like to get up to San Francisco again, because I think I'm going to be staying in California for at least another year. I'm not going to try to go east yet.
Yeah, do you know when you're coming up to San Francisco again?
No, but I'm probably planning something. I might do Anime Expo next month for like a day, and then maybe like sometime in September might be the next good time. We'll see.
We'll be waiting
but if
for
you guys, yeah, it would be cool to see you guys. We can do that video where we all join.
Stevie's got a nice space where it'll be your screams won't be heard.
Yeah,
There'll be
the walls are packed.
It's like,
yeah, there's plenty of there's a drainage grill on the floor for any spillage.
I'm just picturing that like 1989 Brian Yuzna film Society. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Oh man, it's really weird. It's like a really like obscure like body horror film from like the late 80s, early 90s.
I feel like anytime you introduce a movie or a game or an anime, you're like, well, basically it's this obscure, and then I like just blank out.
Obscure something 80s something.
80s, something, yeah.
Well, it's very obscure. Like, look it up. It's called Society, 1989 or 1990. It's really weird, and the whole like I don't want to spoil it for you guys in case you see it, but the end is just.
Yeah, I'll catch it next time it's in the theaters.
Well, you never know. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you are in San Francisco. There's a lot of indie theaters that place like offbeat films like that.
I was
like
gonna say maybe they'll show it. They'll show it at the Red Vic. Oh wait, no, they won't because it closed.
Yeah, that made me so sad. You know, though, like I honestly wanna. I'd love to just like be friends with some of those theaters, and then like maybe do a night where I come in and like show some of the stuff that I like. You know.
You probably can.
Be a curator. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I would like to do something like that on my own.
Paul's
but, like,
movie night.
Just, like...
Yeah. Really obscure something 1980 something movie night. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I used to do like.
Do that. I liked your strange cinema.
Oh yeah, did you tune in for that? Because I missed doing that. Like I did that like every night.
Why don't you do that?
Leave it on.
Why don't you do that again?
Well, I'd like to, but like where I live right now, like I don't really have it. Like I don't have my desktop set up. So like right now, I do have my laptop wired in, but it's kind of like that Ethernet cable gets like moved around a lot. Like you know, to my PS4 if I want to play Overwatch, and back to my laptop because like right now my laptop's like the top
switch,
part's
man.
broken. Oh, a splitter?
Yeah, like a Ethernet switch.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just basically the short answer is I just don't have like the right setup with like my desktop that has all the films and stuff on it.
Yeah.
So
Jeff, something just blew by on the video, and I have no idea what it was.
Was it like Smash TV?
Art. Oh, Smash TV, and then it was
dogs or pets.
Yeah,
Nintendo.
Looked like it was drawn in MS Paint. I couldn't tell what it was. It was great.
Oh, I don't remember now.
These are the games that you're looking at for reference, Jeff. It's like Draken for Super Nintendo. Well, awesome, actually.
Oh, the video's over.
Dang, that was it.
I might have sent you that. You call it Draken? I always call it Draken, but you're talking about the first-person RPG, right? The 3D one. Was that what was on? Because I wasn't watching the video. I'm just wandering around. Oh, cool. That's I actually that game is. Did I send that to you, Jeff? Because like that game is really like, it has some like really interesting like music in it. It just
how does it
really
go?
captures that whole. Well, I'm not gonna sing it. It's.
I guess we'll never know.
No, you can totally look it up. But
I could.
It just feels like it's very like evocative of that whole like early '90s like era of, you know, just music and like what they thought 3D was gonna be. You know, it's these very like primitive kind of shapes and a lot of like sort of just very abstract like enemy designs and stuff. It's really cool. I like it. Like
It's got a really cool
sort of
aesthetic.
kind of. Yeah, exactly. It's that whole aesthetic thing that.
Have you guys ever seen, speaking of like what people thought 3D was going to become, did you ever see this old Hot Wheels game? It was like not even really a racing game. It was just like you're on a track. It's kind of pole position, but like with Hot Wheels cars, and the entire racetrack and like background, it looks like it's real-time 3D stuff, but it's just a one long full motion video. That's all pre-rendered 3D stuff.
Oh my god, no, that's cool.
It's insane. It's weird. I've never seen anything like it.
Did you know that that's how they did
game.
the backgrounds for Killer Instinct?
Yeah, but I've never seen one that was like a fly through the whole way through. It was weird.
What platform was this for?
I think it was some PC game. It was like a CD-ROM thing from the 90s.
Any just weird old games that have been completely forgotten?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. It's, you know, it's like
Named
it's just weird to me. Like the thought occurred to me the other day that like, you know, there's a time when like even like a piece of digital media will be in like the hands of or on the machine of the last person, and then, you know, their hard drive fails, or I just never thought of like that has like a transience or, you know, sort of an ephemeral nature where it's gonna, even that will not exist someday, you know.
Yeah, I guess
Really?
not everything will be archived.
We almost lost
Right,
Indie
yeah.
Game Legend.
Ooh.
Oh really? I always had it on my stuff. I have like.
Well, you were
on my
like, oh,
computer.
I gotta go find it. Maybe it's on this computer that I have in storage.
Ooh. Oh.
Because it wasn't on the
Wow.
internet anymore. All the links were broken.
Oh really? Huh. Well, it was in my Dropbox at least. I think all that time. It just the link reference like probably
Yeah.
broke. But
After we
found some
absorb
weird-
you, Paul, we're gonna destroy every last trace of you.
oh my god! Why?
It's as if he never existed. There ain't no monorail, and there never was.
Derek's just sitting in the corner, like,
Remember
waiting
Paul
for his
Gibbons?
moment to say something like that.
Yeah, like I'll
Paul,
exist
I
as a Mandela effect in the minds of the few that like might have remembered me. They'll be like, "Wait, wasn't there a person called Paul Gibbons or Paul? Was it Paul Hubbard or something like that?"
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure not.
Doesn't
Dude,
sound
Paul, I was
right.
digging around Dropbox a couple weeks ago, and I discovered something that you had shared with me, and it's some other projects were buried in there too. Early
Oh,
versions
no.
of Spunk and Moxie and some other
Oh, wow.
Solipsius and whatever.
Ah, that's the project I'd love to get back to at some point. But
Speaking of pre-rendered 3D backgrounds, that was great.
yeah, and it's crazy because I saw like a game with like in a lot of ways had a very similar premise and had a lot of similar elements. I was like, damn it! Like I can't believe somebody's actually making a game with a lot of like similar themes and things. But I don't think it'll be quite the same. So I'm not, you know, it doesn't really have that sort of like the main plot. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
I guess we're out of stuff to ignore on the screen.
Well,
We're getting
yeah.
closer and closer to
That's not
awkward
bad.
silence. So
That's my favorite.
Did
So,
you guys
to-
discuss the Indie Game Legend 3D at all during this stream, or?
We were, and then you showed up. I got deeper.
I think
And
that-
talked
I think
about
that-
like absorbing bodies and like obscure
I think-
80s films.
Jeff and I talked about it for about 2 minutes before, when we were testing to make sure the microphone works and everything. And then we started streaming.
Nice, yeah. That's good.
But-
Well, it's very informative. I think people learn about Game Legend 3D.
Well, I mean, with what's on the screen right now, I mean, has it been mostly like development stuff, or like, I mean, well, obviously, it's not just Jeff looking at YouTube videos.
Well, right now, that's basically what is on the screen, is me, me looking at my screen.
So I'm just trying to wonder, like, what happened at this point in the video that, like, I should probably, like, you know, take a look at what's going on, because I'm kind of just wandering around.
Oh, you weren't looking at... No, the video is over. We got through the week. I think I was mostly doing, like, mini-map and getting the map stuff working and game font stuff. Yeah. Really frustrating. I remember that.
How involved was Paul in the project at that point?
I don't... I mean, he was hanging out in chat. He was like... I don't know.
Already in
like an
chat,
overweight
now working on
just...
UFO 50, huh?
No, that's the thing. I've been working on UFO 50. That, like, I don't, you know, I use my spare time to work on this, and, you know, but trust me.
Spare time, Paul.
I mean, what spare time? I hire people to work on it. And
Derek, didn't you tell me you were gonna fire Paul?
Oh God.
I've tried to fire Paul multiple times, but he always comes crawling back with that look on his face. Puppy dog eyes, and
I know that look, yeah.
it's so bad.
Oh man.
All right. I guess
I actually will be needing to go.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Stevie. It was great having you.
It was great having all three of you at the same time. Till the next
Fuck you,
one.
Stevie.
What's that?
Derek's gonna absorb you. Derek's absorbing you.
Well, I look forward to seeing the inside of your stomach chamber, or whatever it is, wherever it is absorbing me.
The standard way of saying goodbye.
Yeah, yes. Well, absorb you later. All right, guys. Yeah.
All right, see you, Stevie.
Now what do we do? We're still live.
Was Stevie working on the project in the first week?
I think I don't know if we told him about it. I don't know if we were if we decided if we were going to do a longer version yet that needed more music. I think we're still figuring that out.
Right, yeah, because I think at this point it was like a 1-to-1 like remake, but I think there's something that I always wanted to do with this project was just kind of expand on it a little more, and this was a good opportunity to do that. And that's when I was like, all right, you know, I told Jeff.
Was
about
it you
the
that
idea.
brought the idea to Jeff?
Originally, no, it was Jeff. He kind of just surprised me out of the blue one day. He's like, oh, it's like, I got a surprise for you. I was like, oh yeah, and he showed it to me. I was like, oh crap, this is that, you know, the indie game legend from 2011. I never would have thought I would see this again, you know. And because it was like kind of just that's a wrap thing for me. I thought, you know, there was times in my life where I was like, yeah, maybe I'll put that game on like a platform where like people would spend like a few bucks for it, you know, the original game, and maybe I'll even do like an expansion that adds like 4 new areas or something. But this is kind of what that is. But like
together the prototype at this point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think Jeff, didn't you say something like your first game that you released before this, Visitor Center, was originally going to be an indie game Legend 3D remake, and then you ended up working on Visitor Center instead, but then you were like...
I was doing a bunch of different stuff at once, and so I know I started some prototyping to see if it would work at all around the time of Visitor Center, but I don't think I was thinking about doing the full thing. Did you play it?
Visitor Center, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he finished it, I think. Didn't you finish it?
Yeah. It's just the Visitor Center. made it real easy.
So this is definitely a lot more like in depth than that.
Oh yeah.
and I feel like it's translated pretty well from the 2D top-down game, the original game. Like, we haven't really hit too many snags with it, that translation.
No, and the stuff that is kind of weird is kind of like cool, because it's a different way of approaching a 3D FPS. That reminds you of like playing NES games and that style of game. So
that's totally how I like to describe it to people. It's like if you could go back to those 8-bit games and play them like in first person through the eyes of the player character of that game, that's kind of what this would be. You know, it's more of that than it is anything else. And I notice people make a lot of comparisons to Doom and stuff, like, you know, because their only point of reference, I guess, with pixel art and first person shooters is kind of like Doom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised to not really see any Return to Castle, Wolfenstein references.
I get them from like game developers a lot of the time.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like, the average person, maybe their point of reference is more Doom, and older people in game devs might say Wolfenstein.
We could do we could do an indie game legend 3D treatment to some UFO 50 game, maybe.
That would be cool.
Are there any good games in that game? Is it?
Yeah. There's about 50 good games. 50 of them are good.
Night Manor 3D.
That actually would be pretty cool.
Night
That
Manor.
game to turn into 3D. That's Paul's.
Well, yeah, because it's already in like pseudo 3D. Like it's like 3D perspectives with 2D art, basically.
Hey, when is that game collection gonna be out?
I'm not sure yet.
Never.
But we're getting pretty far along.
Yeah, we've been working on it pretty relentlessly.
Yeah, so you say, Paul.
Hey, man, sometimes I wonder if you guys are working on it. Dude,
all right, that's it. Get in here.
Oh, God, I gotta go, Jeff. I hop back into Derek's pouch.
That's the last straw. I was wondering if you guys had heard of. It's just a fan game, but someone remade Castlevania in the Doom engine.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Like a mod?
Yeah, it's a mod of Doom.
There's it works
pretty well.
I was into a YouTube stream of just like that would review all the crazy Doom mods out there. I didn't see that one, but there's some cool Doom mods.
Doing really cool stuff with Doom. I like that Brutal Doom mod that worked on for a long time. It just like incorporates a bunch of other mods and things people have done, and just the gore effects and stuff. It lets you.
And these are all built on like the original Doom engine. They're just
I think it's built on an expansion of the Doom engine.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
I'm not sure. Jeff might know. But there's, people have expanded on the Doom engine quite a bit.
Yeah.
Original Doom engine. I think like the current versions of the Doom engine that fans have spaces on top of other spaces, which I don't think the original Doom engine could.
No. But yeah, there's that Ion Maiden project too game that came out that's actually using the not the Doom engine but the Duke 3D build engine, which was really cool.
That game was really great. It reminded me that first-person shooters, there isn't really an equivalent for those types of games in modern first-person shooters. I mean the graphics and the engines and stuff, but just they're like these funny set pieces all over the place as you're going through the level. hard to do that kind of thing because it's just so much more expensive time and resource wise to do those kinds of set pieces. You know, like in Duke, in Iron Maiden, or in Blood, there's a real rhythm to just the funny things that you encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the geisha in the toilet or something like that.
And everything was interactive, and that was kind of a... Even if it's just like activating it and it plays an animation, like it's still like fun to discover things that were interactive.
Easier to get away with that when you've got these pretty abstract 3D engines still. Yeah. Or like, you know, when the level design can still be fairly abstract.
Yeah, I miss that. That's why I wanted to do more stuff. Like, that's what I like about older games, is they're more abstract. I remember playing the 3D Realms released this thing called Lame Duke, which was like one of their early prototypes of Duke Nukem 3D, and it was a little bit more cartoony. It felt more like the older Duke Nukem games, which were 2D, you know, super colorful, and really interesting. But they went basically like every other first-person game. They went dark and gritty and realistic, and like first-person games never really came back from that. Like, I guess there were a couple. Like, I remember when Serious Sam came out, it was like the first game that was like colorful, because like everything was so dark and moody. The first like first-person game that seemed really bright, at least on the PC. And then later on we got cel-shaded kind of stuff with modern stuff like Team Fortress 2, but like there's
Fortnite. It's really bright now. It's actually kind of
stylized
back.
Yeah, so that's why I think that it'll be fun to explore more like classic game design and aesthetic, but in that perspective, which this game is kind of trying to do. But there's a lot of other things too. Like, I'm trying to think of like the Metroid Prime series is really interesting, but that's again doing this realistic 3D thing. What if it was more like a first person, but it felt more like the older Metroid games, but it was first person? That's interesting. There's all kinds of, basically this 3D thing, it's like you can kind of apply it to all kinds of older game designs where the world is more abstract and colorful and stuff like that. I think there's a lot to explore there. So
yeah, totally. I think like you could even reuse this indie game Legend 3D engine for stuff like that. You could kind of just make something that has a lot of like familiarity with the first Metroid game, you know, with like the tiles and textures.
Yeah. So
people sort of get that vibe, and you can kind of have that atmosphere and that moodiness and that loneliness that game kind of had, because you don't really get that.
There may be a 3D like first-person version of the original Metroid. I know there are some experimentations with that. Just fan games, of course.
Like Zelda, people did that with the first Zelda too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are pretty interesting. They don't. Really
new Wolfenstein games are actually pretty good. They capture.
Yeah, Wolfenstein is like the last of the colorful arcade games as FPS games, because after Wolfenstein, or rather from Doom on, like everything was trying to be dark and gritty and real. Wolf at least had like they had blue walls. Like it was just super colorful and arcadey, you know, like an old arcade game.
Yeah, well, the new ones are worth trying out though, for sure. I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein, what is it called? The new co-op. It is tough when you have to the realism.
All that fidelity. You gotta do content. So much detail.
Well, when they figure out that we're living in a simulation, they'll just be like, oh, well, these realistic games are just redundant. go back to making pixel art. At least that's my hope. So.
And then you'll be a god.
It was pixel art games and 8-bit styles all along.
That is just one giant pixel.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the stream. We're still live, so.
Oh right, yeah. It's turning into like a podcast now. It's it's like musings of a bunch of old dudes that worked on any game.
So yeah, and I guess thanks for watching. This will be on YouTube and maybe some other places eventually. Actually, I don't know if I was gonna make this public yet. I was maybe thinking of like putting these all together at the end and release them with the game or something, but
cool.
But yeah,
you could even do like a a best of kind of how you do snippets of things.
Yeah, so
that would be cool. Are you gonna do a development stream after this, or
I don't know, I'm gonna take a nap.
Sure. I'm gonna go work on stream yourself pooping? What?
Paul hears what he wants to hear.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could probably make some money doing that.
It all comes from Derek.
Not pooping, but it's a napping stream.
All right.
Just watch people while they sleep.
Thanks to Derek for crashing the party.
Yeah, it was definitely a pleasure having you, Derek.
All right, everybody. Bye.